Welcome inside the vault on this beautiful Wednesday morning for your noonday lunch live stream. And I just got to give a shout out right off the top to one of our most frequent listeners, Tila. Happy birthday. That's what the chat's telling me. It's telling me it's your birthday. I hope you have a phenomenal day. And you know what? I'm going to do my best to start things off with a phenomenal day with the content that we have on today. Before I do, I want to say that this episode today is brought to you by Wellness Plus Care. We appreciate them and for their support on the show and belief in everything that we're building. I also want to give a shout out to Bobby Trossett. I'm sure he's exploring some beautiful mountain somewhere in Banff, Canada. I am a little jealous. I think I would like to go visit there based off of the pictures that he has, but I am still excited to be here to talk Ravens football with you guys. So much to get to today, as we do every day. Starting off the show, we're going to talk about former Ravens safety Eric Weddle, who has also been in touch with the team even after he left, including in the scouting department. And he had some words for the Ravens coaches after that Ravens-Rams game the other night that he took in, and he has a message for John Harbaugh and wants to see him step in and step up. But he also has some good news. He's got some great takes on the new Raven safety, Alohi Gilman, and what that does for this defense. We're also going to go through a lot. There were so many assistant coaches that spoke yesterday. You could have spent well over an hour to listen to all those press conferences. You don't need to do that, though. I've been through them, and I've pulled out the most interesting, the most noteworthy clips. Some of them, some fans got very frustrated with. Some fans expressing some feelings of gaslighting. So are they gaslighting? Are they building up? We'll get into all that and kind of analyze it and see what they really mean and kind of translate it. Later on, I've got some film study of what this three safety look looks like and why it was so effective. Not perfect, but certainly had the defense looking better. And then finally, I had to do it. We got to do it. We need to take a look at some old Lamar Jackson takes and expose them. Just expose them for what they are, which was just narratives, maybe some lies, all that kind of stuff. So much to get to and more with quick hits. So let's go ahead and start off with former Raven Eric Weddle. As I said, he had some words for the Ravens coaching staff after that loss, and he's a little bit frustrated, just like the rest of us.
And competitive, unlike my Ravens, who actually were competitive in that game.
Defense actually showed up against your Rams.
I was damn near pissed off at the Rams.
Again, you get to the inside the 5, and you take out. You got a fourth. Before that, they take Henry out whatever the first fourth down. Yeah. They don't get, and they're doing some funky, leaving the ball in Cooper Rush's hands. He's like, sorry, but he's not very good. And then you get down inside the red zone, and now you're doing all this dumb stuff. Like, what are we doing? What coaching? Coaching matters. Holy smokes, this coaching matters. Got 25 touches, but it's just situational football. And that they did not until maybe the end of the third where he started getting maybe 1 to 2 yards on those outside zone runs.
Yeah.
Before that, it was 5-7 yards a pop, and he wasn't getting touched till 3, 4, 5 yards down the field. So I think at times we outsmart. I've done it. I'm not sitting here saying I'm a perfect coach. I've outsmarted myself and just been there like, why don't I just be us, right? Why do I have to be all cute and do dumb stuff? So It's a good reminder, but man, how do these things happen where you're allowing it? You either coach it or you allow it. And as the head coach, it always comes back to the head coach. And I love Harbs and him and I would never want to like slander his name. I don't understand at times throughout the season where he hasn't put his foot down and said, this is what we're going to do to win this game.
I mean, he's speaking facts. By the way, that video coming courtesy of the Coach JB show. That's where Eric Weddle was talking about this game. And he's saying what we were all saying. I mean, I wrote it in all caps. I try not to write in all caps usually, but I was indeed yelling. So I reserve it for when I'm yelling. But I wrote in all caps in the middle of the game, you have Derrick Henry, use him. He just busted out all those yards, and then you take him off the field. I'm glad Eric Weddle makes me feel validated in that. I already felt pretty darn validated, but here's another former Raven football savant and a coach in his own right. He knows we all get too cute sometimes. That's fine, but it's happening too often. It's happening too often. And he does, just like I do. He loves John Harbaugh. But even though you love somebody, you still got to call him out. And he said it. You're either coaching it or you're allowing it. He says he wants to see Coach Harbaugh step in. Remember, Harbaugh called out Todd Monken a few weeks ago. And, you know, I liked the overall game plan going to Derrick Henry more. And it's interesting because Todd Monken did speak yesterday. He was asked about some of those goal line moments. And does he regret them? He didn't even shy away from it. Yeah, he said he regrets them.
Any regret on that and kind of what goes into that, sticking with it versus, you know, something else?
Oh, you're 100%. I mean, throughout every game, whether we score a lot or we score little, happens a lot less frequently when you score a lot. But throughout the game, there's calls you're like, maybe not. You know, that's just what you do. I mean, you take ownership in when it isn't successful. And obviously, whenever it doesn't go well, you always look at it and go, maybe that wasn't right.
I always appreciate Todd Monken. Every time he goes to the podium, he always starts with himself. He always takes accountability. We love that. I hate that he's in this headspace where he might second guess himself or regret it or whatever. But that's where we are. And, you know, Eric Weddle saying, hey, it falls on the head coach. And that's true. And he's saying, step in. Maybe I feel like maybe he has. He's got to get it right too. John Harbaugh does. It wouldn't shock me if that tush push is like a John Harbaugh special. He was so defensive when asked if you could do that tush push with Derrick Henry. So either way, we already know it. We don't need to dive into it too much again. We've been talking about it all week and really many weeks. But having a former Raven who also loves John Harbaugh say the same thing, hopefully it doesn't fall on deaf ears, because I do believe that John Harbaugh, you know, loves Eric Weddle and the battles they've been through together. Sometimes it's easier to take it when it's coming from somebody that you love. So it's good to hear it to come from him also. Now, that being said, Eric Weddle, as we know, is Mr. Positivity, and he feels like, yeah, the Ravens can still turn this around. And he gives 2 reasons for it. 2 reasons the Ravens can turn this around. Here we go.
Way the Ravens still make a wild card, or
honestly, I relate it to my last year there. We were 10-6, and we at the time we were 5-5.
Okay.
And we had to win 6 of 7 to get in. The last 7 weeks, we just gave the offense over to Lamar, and we were this situation. They can do it. You got to get a win. You just got to get a win by any means. The bye comes at a good time. They can recenter, just flush out all this garbage, and go out and win a couple games. Just win a couple games and see what happens. Don't look ahead. You win one, and then it becomes 4 in a row, and then before you know it, you're the hottest team in the league. It can happen. I've done it. I've been a part of 3 or 4 teams that we won 11 in a row, San Diego, and it can happen. It's a ball starts bounce your way, confidence, belief. Momentum's huge in the NFL.
I don't know if they have the defense, though. I've never seen it this bad. Your defense.
They looked good yesterday, though. Or they looked solid.
Listen, a huge – no one's going to talk about this. Getting Alohi at safety and being able to put him and Starks deep and bringing Hamilton. Look at the difference Hamilton made when he was playing linebacker, nickel, dime, doing all that blitzing and stuff. They can't block him. It was a huge, huge difference having Hamilton closer to the line of scrimmage so he could be a difference maker. That's when he was an all-pro. He's really good at back safety. He is a defensive player of the year when he's allowed to be in the Derwin James role. So if you guys notice that, that made their defense better. They're going to get Roquan back. They'll watch. Just watch.
Okay, Jay. I still got a little belief in my system now.
Watch, just watch, he says. Appreciate the optimism there for sure. The two reasons he gave that he feels like the Ravens will be improved. One, you just got to get momentum. The bye week coming at a great time, all these losses in a row. If you can flush this down the garbage, flush it down the toilet, and get 1 or 2 wins. Eric Weddle speaking from experience. He's done it himself. I've covered several teams that have done it, including the one that he mentioned in 2018. And what happened in 2018? Lamar Jackson came in and saved the day. Coincidentally, he's not a rookie, but he could come back. And I hate to put this on all this on his shoulders, and I won't, but we can't pretend that he wouldn't absolutely be a shot to the arm. It can't be all on him. We've already discussed earlier this week the 4 changes I want to see the Ravens make with the return of Lamar Jackson. But with him, as Eric Weddle notes, is a big change the Ravens made in the back end of the defense. And that is where another part of his optimism is coming from. That new 3 safety look, now that the Ravens have added Alohi Gilman. And we all said it. If the defense had been holding offenses as high-powered as the Rams, remember Matthew Stafford came in with the most passing yards of any quarterback in the league right now. If they had been holding teams to 17 points, shoot, in some cases 30, the Ravens would have been winning because of the way that Lamar Jackson was leading this offense. So you put together a return of Lamar, a much improved defense with this new 3 safety look, plus Roquan Smith being back, Pat Ricard being back. I listened to Jeff Zrebiec last night on the Ravens Collective, and he said he expects Pat Ricard to be back based off of what he saw in practice. Roquan Smith, Cheeto Awuzie. We already saw Marlon Humphrey return. So they're going to have their dogs, and they've got a new look defense, and they've got a lighter schedule. So as Eric Weddle said, with this new defense, these returning guys, momentum can happen. Now, while we're talking about this new 3 safety look, there was some news yesterday coming out of Owings Mills. Let's go down this 3 safety or the safety position plus the 3 safety look a little bit. Okay. The Ravens announced yesterday that they have already cut defensive back CJ Gardner-Johnson from the practice squad. Then they went ahead and the corresponding move was signing nose tackle Josh Tupou to the practice squad to replace CJ. Adam Schefter, after speaking to CJ's agent, has a little bit more information on how that went down. So Adam Schefter tweeted that the safety's agent, Kevin Connor, reached out to Ravens officials, and they came to, quote, an amicable mutual decision. Quote, after the Ravens traded for a safety, meaning Alohi Gilman, we were looking for a clearer path to pay. So it sounds like both sides were open to this. I just referenced Jeff Zrebiec on the Ravens Collective last night. He was answering questions to fans. Why even sign CJ to begin with? Why did they even do this? And he said that they were going down that road with CJ because they were trying to get 3 safeties on the field at once. They'd gone so far down, they were nearly signing, but then this trade opportunity popped up. And so they made the trade for a starting safety instead of one that had been cut, and had been cut reportedly, partially, because of his locker room and maybe not fully team attitude that he had over there, and the Texans released him. So the Ravens are like, well, we're already far down this road. Let's go ahead and finish this, according to Jeff. but we gotta grab Alohi Gilman. So that's how that went down. But then once they had him, and all of us could see writing on the wall, I don't know how CJ was going to be able to get, even if he was activated off the practice squad, he wasn't going to be able to see the field too much. Kyle Hamilton and Malachi Starks both played either 100% or near 100%. And then Alohi had a little bit less, seeing that he had only practiced for 3 days. So that's what happened there. To me, not a big deal. If you were exploring all avenues to get the safeties that you wanted, and you did so much work that you had 2 simultaneously come to fruition, but you didn't need 2. You just needed the 1. So sure, go let CJ go out and try to find a different situation where, as his agent said, would be a clearer path. Meanwhile, Zach Orr and Chuck Pagano was asked yesterday about this new look and the addition of Alohi. And boy, oh boy, do they seem happy with what they saw on first look with their new safety in a Ravens uniform against the Rams.
Beast, man. I mean, he came right in on, I think he got in Wednesday morning. I mean, that's the first time I seen him. Then he was out there. He took every rep in practice on defense. So he was starting. We knew he was going to play just about every rep. And he came from a similar system, but credit to him, credit to Double D and Pagano. Those guys spent plenty of hours, after hours and before hours, getting prepared. And I mean, he was directing traffic his first day in practice, so I knew it was going to be a good addition in the lineup with him. And then he went out there and played well. So the more comfortable he gets with the guys and with our terminology, the better he's going to be, because he was real good on Sunday.
It kind of looked like, probably like same like it looked to you. It looked like he'd been here for a couple years.
Along those lines, that allowed you guys to shift into more free safety nickel. It's kind of your first look, firsthand seeing it. What did you like about that, and how big can that be for maybe unlocking Kyle's playmaking ability, being closer to the line of scrimmage?
Yeah, just a little bit different picture, you know, for the offense. Seeing a guy of Kyle's stature in and around the line of scrimmage, playing nickel. He's, you know, everybody's playing, you know, pretty much sub defense, 4-2 defense. A typical nickel doesn't look like Kyle, so he covers as good or better than most cover corners. He's a great blitzer. You can't block him. Block destruction. He's a menace. So now you put that guy in and around the line of scrimmage from an account standpoint. I mean, they have to know exactly where he's at, you know, not only in coverage, but is he coming, is he not coming, those type of things. And then, you know, again, Lowe coming in and working with Malachi, the communication, it was different, felt different, looked different. I'm sure it did to you guys as well.
Yes, it did look different, and which is why Eric Weddle previously said, you watch, because Alohi was certainly solid, given that he was at practice for 3 days. Certainly solid. Obviously, the big part of this that they just spoke about and that Eric Weddle spoke about was getting Kyle Hamilton all over the field. And when I tell you, in the past, he had been a deep safety in the first few weeks. He didn't play that at all. Instead, he was strong safety, nickel, outside linebacker. And what I really liked is Coach Derek, who we had on the show previously, all 22 films. I wanted you to see a little bit of film breakdown that he had. He put up this 32-minute film breakdown on just these 3 guys and what it looked like. Go check out all 32 minutes. I just took a couple. We'll get about 3 or 4 minutes worth of some film breakdown of how this was implemented and why it was so useful. So let's start here with Coach.
Or put guys in the right spot this week. Hamilton is, super versatile. He can play moving forward. I think this is a great spot for him against teams like this. It was a very defined game plan, in my opinion, one that relied upon, the versatility of Alohi Gilman, Malachi Starks as well. But Hamilton will typically be in purple, Gilman in yellow, and then Starks in blue. Gilman was typically set to the boundary with Hamilton set to the field. A little bit of a snag flat concept here. Hamilton seemed locked in to me, prepared for what the Rams were going to offer. You can see he's pointing here to Wiggins. It's a short completion out in the flats. Hamilton is basically just, taking over the snag concept or the stop route by Davante Adams. We just played a better brand of football. In addition, I think Buchanan is a Mike. I do not think he's a Will. I've been on record as saying I didn't like that draft pick. I don't think he's a guy that's really good in coverage. Simpson is a Will. Buchanan plays better as a Mike, certainly, and I'm not saying that Buchanan should start once Roquan Smith is healthy, but to reach the highest ceiling for Buchanan, for him to play at his best, he's a Mike linebacker. Still on that first possession with the ball on the left hash, and typically Gilman was set into the boundary with Hamilton to the field. When the ball's in the middle of the field, it was slightly different there, but in any case, Starks pre-snap is in a one-high safety look. I love the violence that the Ravens used at times. They basically have created a 5-2 look here out of a nickel platform, which is unique to a certain extent. So here's Hamilton walked up. If you didn't know who that was, you'd say, okay, this is a 5-2 look, or 3-4, if you will. That's an OLB. That's an OLB, 2 inside linebackers, and then a strong safety rolled up. This is the reason why I'm so sold on this is that's the exact defensive front that I pretty much played, or that I pretty much coached and created when I had the opportunity to coach in high school. This basically a lot of these schemes, a lot of these fronts looks gave the Rams severe problems in getting to Buchanan. He is totally unblocked on this play and at least one other that I'll present to you in this video. The Rams had difficulty. Moving forward to the second possession after they, of course, missed their field goal, clangs off the right upright. So ball is on the right hash, and here's Hamilton, and this is the look that I think they took from the Patriots, or one of the things that they took from the Patriots. So Hamilton is basically walked up as an OLB. One more time. Earlier it was a 5-2, I called it, or 3-4, if you will. Now it's a 6-1. So when I say 6-1 is 6 players here, 1 inside linebacker. But what I love about this, same concept into the boundary that they ran earlier on that 3rd and 3. Basically, Nakua on a deeper in cut, and then Adams a shallow in. But we're getting hands on people. So we're getting hands on people here with Simpson. We're getting hands on the tight end here with Hamilton. And you can see that's where Stafford looked initially. So 2 things happen up there into the boundary by Simpson jamming from inside out leverage. Not only can he get hands on the guy, but now, as he moves out into the flats, he can see number 1 because he's got his back to the quarterback and his eyes to the outside. We shouldn't do this every play, but this is just a nice little adaptation to be able to get hands on the receiver, in this case, Nakua. And Stafford's looking up there. The window is not there to Adams the same way it was on the 3rd and 3 that I showed you. And also Hamilton is settling underneath 88. That's a mismatch in our favor in terms of Hamilton trying to cover him. This is, of course, the strip sack by Jenkins. I'll rewind this one more time and let you see Hamilton jam the tight end at the bottom. But moving forward for us, having Hamilton up near the box, I think, is a smart move, especially if Roquan's going to be out for an extended period of time, because it's another smart, experienced football player who can try to get people in the right spot. And I really feel like Buchanan is overwhelmed in that role right now. To me, it looked like, this week at least, it looked like less communication responsibility for Buchanan pre-snap, even though he's the Mike. To me, I thought Hamilton, Gilman, and Starks were the guys getting us in the right look, generally on a snap-by-snap basis.
Yeah, so many great things from Coach there where, listen, first and foremost, getting Kyle Hamilton up there and moving him around and the way he could jam, like the way he jammed the tight end there at the end. And Stafford had nowhere to go. And it helped John Jenkins get that sack strip and recovery. Hat trick. We love it. The other thing that was done with that is they try to minimize, with these 2 young inside linebackers, try to minimize, first of all, the communication that they had to have. So having Hamilton up there, plus using the other 2 safeties, those 3 together and how they communicated, they were able to make sure that everybody was in the correct positions. And so that alone, taking that responsibility off of Buchanan and Simpson, was huge. There just wasn't, it just seemed like everybody was on the same page. And having him up there both to be physical, to be a playmaker, and to communicate. And this is all after Kyle Hamilton hadn't played in that role in weeks and weeks and weeks. He hasn't done it yet this year. because they didn't have enough safeties to do it. And then he had started to do it last year, but then they moved him back. And so Kyle Hamilton, this is why they say that he's the ultimate chess piece. It's like last year, they needed him to move back, and he saved the day. It's always based on the other personnel that they have around him. So he goes back. They bring in Ardarius Washington, and they're able to turn things around. So this year, they're like, hey, we want to get back to that because Roquan Smith's out. Our linebackers are not playing well. So let me go get another safety, and then we'll move Kyle Hamilton back into that Derwin James role. I mean, you just when you call him a unicorn, people throw around those phrases sometimes, but watch that tape. Look what he's doing. He's lining up all over the place. And Alohi Edition made that possible. Okay. Now, meanwhile, I think it was an interesting point that he made, that he felt like Teddy Buchanan's better as a Mike than a Will, and Trenton Simpson better as a Will. So, we expect Roquan Smith to be back. He'll probably take back over Teddy Buchanan's position. It'll be interesting to see, do they put Teddy or Simpson at the Will linebacker? According to Coach here, he feels like Simpson's better in the Will position than Buchanan is. So I wanted to pull there both a run play and a pass play so you could see what was going on and how effective it was. It wasn't effective all the time, but to hold those guys to 17 points was certainly a job well done. All right. Next up, we'll be talking about some of the comments that were strange or head scratching, or some fans calling gaslighting from all the assistant coaches yesterday. I put them down in a short mashup for everybody. But before we do, I do want to get to super chats. And I also want to do a read here real quick from, like I said, today's sponsor, who is Wellness Plus Care. Let's go ahead and bring that up here for you guys to check out their website and all the different things that they have to offer. Let's see here. Hate it when StreamYard doesn't let me put in what I want instead of bringing back up the old video that we just looked at. And let's see if it does it this time. There we go. Here we are. Zoom a little bit there. There we go. This is the website that you want to be checking out at wellnesspluscare.com. So Wellness Plus Care, you can get 20% off your first testosterone treatment if you mention the Vault when you call them at 410-202-3863, or you can check out more information here on the website. So Wellness Plus Care is located in Hunt Valley, Maryland. It's a full service clinic focused on hormone therapy, medical weight loss, skin rejuvenation, yes, please, IV therapy, peptide therapy, and genetic testing. There's all different types of services that you can go to this website and learn more about. So every care plan, when you go in there, is personalized, and each patient works directly with the same provider. So you are not just a number over at Wellness Plus Care. Their mission is to help men and women restore energy and confidence and long-term vitality. So Brenda Boggs, she is the owner and medical director of Wellness Plus Care. She's a family nurse practitioner with over 34 years of patient care experience. Her career background, she's got cardiac and pulmonary hospital unit experience, lots of different stuff, but she is certified in advanced biodent tech. Sorry, I'm going to botch the word. Hormone replacement therapy, BHRT. And so she's very well known for her compassionate, patient-first approach and passion for restoring energy and wellness. So in addition to her extensive clinical background, Brenda also has over 10 years experience in this wellness space. So her expertise in hormone health and patient care is top notch. And so if you are looking for, let me see if I can look in here. Let's see. See, here's the options of all the different services that they have. But if you are looking forward to, if you're looking to lose weight, she can definitely help you there in a safe and healthy manner. And if you mention the Vault, you can get tirzepatide for your first week for $40. That tirzepatide is usually $235 a month for a standard dose. So you mentioned the vault, that goes down to $40, which could help you safely lose weight. They offer so many other things here. If you take a look at their website, you know what I'm interested in. It's that skin rejuvenation. They've got chemical pills, red light therapy, an IV cocktail. If you go back home, though, I know what I'm also interested in is both men and women can take a quiz to find out if you might be suffering from some hormone deficiency. So there is a specialized one for each men and women. So go over to the website, check them out. Like I said, if you mention the vault, you can either get your first dose of tirzepatide, only $40, or for other things, you can mention the vault and get 25 or 20% off your first testosterone treatment for you men. So check them out over on this website. We sure appreciate Wellness Plus Care for their support of the vault and sponsoring us throughout this season, really. And so let's go on over to some of your super chats. Let's see where we're at here. Let's get caught up there. Douglas H. Brown Sr. He has been working like a madman, but we appreciate him because he gave us a $10 super chat. And he said, I can't be here in person, but I wanted to be here in spirit. Sorry, just really slammed with development activities. Douglas H. Brown, we appreciate you. He put this in at 11:26, long before the show started, about 30 minutes before the show started. So thank you, Douglas, for thinking of us. Hope you're able to listen to us later, and good luck with all the work that you got going on. Melvin Ezel is in the house, and Melvin says, happy birthday. This is what I mentioned off the top. Happy birthday, Tila. Enjoy your day. Says, Solo Sarah, have a fantastic show. I'm traveling today. We'll catch up later. All love. So that's 2 people coming in early before the show starts to give love to me, and then also to Tila. Yes, Tila, happy birthday to you. I hope you have exciting things planned for your day. Dre Dog is in the house with the $5 super chat. He says, I've been looking at the defensive tape. Yes, we're not getting to the QB like we want, but hands down, playing 7 to 9 yards off is killing us the most. Yeah. I mean, we saw in there some more aggressive play, quite a bit from Kyle Hamilton. I think there was some from Trenton Simpson that he pointed out. But yeah, on the outside, people have been playing off. It's been a theme all season. And it's one thing, and I think it's because they can't get pressure. Maybe the two are related. Because if you get beat by playing, but I'm with you, Dre Dog, because they're just marching down. Like, is it better to like risk it going over your head, or just like getting worn down as they get 5-yard chunks, 6-yard chunks, 10-yard chunks, 15-yard chunks? It definitely is killing them. Dreams is in the house with the $2 super chat and says, chat, let's wish Queen Tila a happy birthday. Absolutely. Tila, what are you up to today? Did you already say? You got anything fun going on? I love it. Tila thanking everybody for all the love. I love it. I love this community and how you guys all support each other. You support us. I really appreciate you guys. All right, so let's move on to things that were said yesterday. So because of the bye week, we get to speak to all the Ravens assistant coaches. And yesterday was no different. And we spoke to the coordinators. There was definitely a theme going on at the pressers yesterday with all these guys. And that theme was to pretty much not say a single bad thing about anybody and just really build players up. But in the process, you might be feeling a little bit like Coach is feeling. Coach, who we just listened to from all 22 films. And he went back and he said, I finally listened to Warhop, meaning George Warhop, the offensive line coach. He says, and I realized instantly what the term gaslighting actually means. He's on the perfect coaching staff for this stage of his career. So it wasn't just George Warhop. So what I did is I went and I put together a mashup of a lot of quotes said by various coaches that really frustrated Ravens fans, feeling like the coaches weren't shooting them straight. And we will start off with Coach Warhop.
They both really last week had pretty solid games. I would say,
Just to pause real quick. The question was about Andrew Voorhees and Daniel Fa'alele. So I just wanted to set that up correctly so you know who he's talking about here. Let's start it again.
What have you seen out of Andrew Voorhees, Daniel Fa'alele? You know, they tend to get a lot of the criticism directed at them when it comes to the O-line from the fan base.
I think.
First of all, I don't know why he's laughing. Why? What is it like? The question's like, hey, these two guys have been getting a lot of criticism from the Ravens fan base, and he laughs it off. Well, why are we laughing? The criticism is legit. Maybe some people go too far with it, but they're kind of the weaklings. I don't know what he's laughing off here, but here's his answer.
I think those guys every week get better. Every week. I thought they both really last week had pretty solid games. I would say, maybe the Houston game wasn't one of their best games. But other than that, I really don't have a lot of negative to say about those two guys. I mean, every week, if you watch them play, they get better, right? And there's been some challenging fronts we've had to deal with. I think Houston is really good. I think Cleveland's really good overall. And those are our average games as a unit, dealing with those two fronts.
Okay, just pause right there. Like, so he said they're improving every week. Andrew Voorhees was a little bit better last week. But no. Then on top of it, it's never a good sign when your coach says, well, we were facing some really good fronts. It's really good defense over there. Yeah, no fake. You're in the NFL. Just about everybody's good. Like, that's not you want people in there that compete with the best of the best. Not say, well, they tried hard. They were really good over there. We know. Okay. T. Martin here talking about Cooper Rush.
Cooper and Tyler have been asked to kind of cover a lot of ground there. But
well, I thought the both of them prepared well all throughout the week, and I thought they played well. You know, you take one play away from Coop, where it's 3rd and down, we step up in the pocket, got a little pressure, and, you know, the interception, you kind of share the blame on that one. But outside of that, the operation was great, I thought.
So T. Martin on Cooper Rush. Well, if you take away his interception, he played pretty well. And we're just going to pretend that he wasn't benched at the end. We're just going to pretend that all the players clearly got behind Tyler Huntley when he came in and looked absolutely frustrated when Cooper Rush was in there. But take out his interception and forget that he got pulled at the start of the 4th quarter. He had a great game. And now here we are with Chuck Smith talking about T. Robinson, who has had a good season, but he gasses him up a little too much here.
Yeah, you had all the nice things to say about Tavius Robinson. I guess what have you seen from him up until this point?
I mean, T. Rob was playing as good as anyone really in the league. You know, he's a hammer against the run. He was rushing the passer, you know, had, I think, 2 sacks, but he had an opportunity for a plethora of more sacks, you know, as well as the other guys, you know.
Malachi.
He said that Tavius Robinson was playing as well as any outside linebacker in the league. Is he as good as the guy up in Cleveland? The guy up there? What about the guy over the Steelers? What about the guy over with the Raiders? Do I need to keep going? I mean, listen, I don't even mean to bash Tavius. The Ravens are going to miss him. Tavius has been like an under the radar guy that's been solid for the Ravens. But we don't have to like go that far and say he's playing as well as anybody in the league. And then because later he goes on to say there were a lot of sacks that he could have had. Okay. All right. Here's Chuck Pagano being asked about Malachi Starks.
It's helped keep you guys from getting, you know, beaten deep, but then he's also been around some plays. He's missed a tackle here and there. What do you take as the full picture of Malachi so far, 6 games into his rookie season?
Arrow up, exceeded, I think, everybody's expectations. He's one of our hardest workers, smartest dudes, prepares like no other. Again, he's mature beyond his years. There's a lot on his plate. He's accepted that challenge. He's never backed down from any challenge. There's going to be some tough downs. Great thing about Malachi is he doesn't make the same mistake twice. It'll get corrected from last week and the week before. He doesn't make the same mistake twice, and he's able to move on past it. He doesn't dwell on that.
Now, some of that's fair, but he said at the beginning that Malachi Starks exceeded expectations. No, I definitely thought he'd be better than he's been. He's felt a little lost at times. Now, I'm not saying he can't get better. I believe he will. But exceeded expectations, I'd say he's been under expectations, personally. And this final one of Chuck Smith, this one's probably not the worst of all these clips. This is him on Mike Green.
Green, he's shown some flashes. But what's kind of the key for him as a young guy, just being consistent down the stretch and making a big impact in the second half?
Mike's a starter. Mike's playing big boy ball. He's playing first and 10. He's playing against, teams, obviously the 5 teams we've played that are, I guess, playoff teams. So he's transitioning. So Mike will play first 2 downs, then he's in on 3rd down. Right now he's doing really well on the run, and he's continued to work hard and develop as a pass rusher. And his days will come, his sacks will come, and at the end of the year, we'll be happy.
I do think Mike Green is getting there, but I know a lot of people are frustrated with him being asked to drop in coverage. He's saying he's playing big boy ball. I mean, it's true in that he's out there a lot because the Ravens are now thin at the outside linebacker group. But I feel like big boy ball would be a lot more sacks than he's getting. So I'm not ready to go that far yet. Again, with Starks and Green, yes, the arrow is pointing up. They'll keep getting better week by week. They're getting experience. But some of this was just a little too much. Obviously, this one talking about Daniel Faalele and Andrew Voorhees saying they're getting better every week. And like he felt like the game tape was good last week. Here's Cole Jackson on the Ravens Collective. He did a whole film breakdown of the Ravens outside zone rushing concepts. There were 11 of them. Guess how many times Daniel Faalele fell down? Cole will let you know.
You got to look, and you look at how much zone they ran last week and the success they had getting Derrick Henry into the second level for the first time in 3 weeks. And, I look at that right guard position where, at least last week I can show you plays of Andrew Voorhees taking a step forward in that scheme that I think fits Derrick Henry so well. But then I show you those same plays, and, I had a clip up of 11 plays, all of them outside zone. And on 4 of them, Daniel Faalele was on the ground. So that's where I would look personally. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
I would replace Faalele. I would, we don't watch enough of practice. I would basically treat these couple practices on the bye week and next week as an open tryout between Corey Bullock and Ben Cleveland. And look, this job is yours. Who wants it? And get one of those guys ready to play.
Okay, so 4 times on those zone concepts of 11, Daniel Faalele fell down. And real quick, I want to give credit to WBFF Fox 45 Baltimore for those pressure clips. The mashup that I just put together came from Fox 45, so I wanted to give credit there. But I just don't know how you look at stuff like this. I've got a big red circle around Daniel Faalele on that 4th and 1 where Derrick Henry's running. And Daniel Faalele is on the ground. I've shown other videos where he's on the ground. Cole Jackson seeing them all. I'm with Jeff Zrebeck. Hey, and John Harbaugh said he is going to do it. They're going to take a look at some of the veteran guys, some of the young guys, and let's just hold an open competition, a 2-week open competition for that right guard spot. Corey Bullock, Daniel Faalele, and Ben Cleveland. And let's make a change. Now's the time to make a change. Now, with all these coaches saying what they're saying, obviously gassing up their players, I thought Jeff did a good job of just putting in perspective what these coaches are trying to do and why they're doing it.
I know made some Ravens fans raise their eyebrows. They're building these guys up. This group of Ravens have taken I've heard a lot of negativity, heard a lot of crap. There's a lot of finger pointing in the building. They've heard how much they stink. Players have gotten blamed, and it seems to be coaches are in the mode of let's build these guys up. Well, let's not make it worse. And I will say to the fans flipping out about it, I get it. It's got to be frustrating, but what's being said to us is not what's being said behind closed doors, right? I think we all have to remember that. These guys, they very much coach these guys hard behind the scenes and are very honest with them about their shortcomings, what they're doing right or wrong. But what they're not going to do is throw them under the bus and pile on to the media. Now, you could also argue about pushback on how effusive they were about some guys who clearly aren't playing that well. But, this coaching staff has a Herculean task to try to get this team back on track in time. They have zero margin of error, none. They suggest they have just the men for the job, but as they were talking, I'm sure Eric DeCosta in the office above them is working the phones trying to get some help in here, because this is a team that needs some reinforcements too.
Yeah, I believe what Jeff is saying here is correct. There's no way there's no way, right? Right? That they're talking to like Daniel Fa'alele and saying, "Hey, you're improving each week. Hey, that was a great game. Don't you worry that you were down on the ground 4 times." I think Jeff's correct here. And obviously he talks to the coaches and he talks to people inside the Ravens organization. He's saying what's being said in the public. It's like, look, these guys are all getting ripped by media and the fan base. And they are. And so they know what's going on. And they are correcting them, according to Jeff, inside these meeting rooms. And so what's being said behind closed doors is not what they're going to say in public. And I actually respect that. You don't need to throw everybody under the bus every week. You got to pick and choose your times. These are the position coaches. They have to build them up. They don't have to tear them down. Now, do I feel like they were a little effusive with building them up? Maybe gassing them up a little bit? Did they go a little too far? Probably. I mean, it definitely ticked off a segment of the fan base. But I hope he's right that while this is all being done down in the meeting rooms, and this is what's being said at the press conferences, I hope he's right that Eric DeCosta is up there and he's on the phone. Because they are a few players away. They are a few players. Listen, there's a lot of good reason for hope. Let's have this open competition at the guard position. That's one change I asked for. I asked for a better play calling, especially situational calling. Monken says he regrets some of the stuff he did. Hopefully they're using the bye week to come up with some better short yardage calls. And I really hope he learns to look at the hot hand and stay with the hot hand. Stop taking Derrick Henry off the field, especially when he's got a hot hand. They're going to have to add an outside linebacker and maybe a bigger trade. And listen, I think that they could stomach a bigger trade more if it's a guy that they can keep long term, like they did with Roquan Smith. You don't want to spend too many assets, too many prime assets in trying to salvage this season. You still want to see if they can win 1 or 2 games before you make that huge trade. And if they do happen to come out with Lamar Jackson, a lot of these guys healed, a new look secondary, you beat the Bears, you beat the Dolphins, then it's like, okay, pull the trigger on a long-term deal, but it's got, on a bigger trade, on a bigger name that will make a big impact. But make sure it's somebody, if you're giving up prime assets, make sure it's somebody that you can keep long-term. That's the way it's got to go down. All right, let's see here. Let's take a couple more super chats before we move into our third topic and final topic before quick hits. Dre Dog is back, and he says these coaches are a reflection of the head coach. They're definitely building him up, just as I'm sure John is. They better be honest behind closed doors. Jeff is saying that's happening. Liv B, celebrating 5 months of VAULTRON membership. We appreciate you, Liv. Liv says this coddling crew, coaching staff, got to be stopped. We got to start a best man plays mentality every week. If third string looks best, they play. Agreed. Amon Reese says, "I'm what." By the way, Amon is celebrating 2 months of channel membership. We appreciate you, Amon. He says, "I'm wondering if the coaches are being extra positive in their public feedback of players because the players' confidence is so low." I do feel like John Harbaugh was asked that on Monday, and I'll go look up the quote. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but I believe that there was like a question about, are the players now, is it kind of in their head? Are they playing not to make a mistake? And he kind of thought there might be something to that. But I'll look that up. Maybe when I'm playing another video, I'll have time to go look up that transcript. But yes, they are for sure, Amon, building them up. There, I'm sure, is not a lot of great energy inside there right now. And so it's all negativity. It's all these losses. They hear it from the outside. So they're trying to, I think, certainly in the public, not bury them more. They don't want to tear them down behind closed doors, but they got to be honest, and they got to like what Just Live said. If you're not playing, you don't get to keep your job. It's that simple. Dre Dog is back with one more super chat. He says, "Whatever these coaches are smoking, I want some." Big Jordan 51 says, "I agree with Coach about Teddy," meaning he's a better Mike than he is a Will linebacker. He does have the Mike mindset, but Trenton was good in college at coverage at Clemson because he got reps in at strong safety. Yeah, but I think that's why he's saying Trenton's better at Will, because you can do a little bit more of that type of stuff in the coverage. All right. Appreciate all you guys in your super chats here. Let's go to the third topic, which I just couldn't help myself. I had to do it. We need to take some old takes and expose them. And yes, I am not letting this go. No, I am not. It is the narrative that MVP voters themselves spun in order to vote Lamar Jackson in as the all-pro quarterback, but then give the MVP to Josh Allen. We've talked about it a little bit this week and how much we've seen just how much Lamar Jackson means to this team. And other $250 million plus quarterbacks, you could probably say the same thing. But you're not stealing an MVP vote for them off of this narrative. And that therein lies the difference. When Joe Burrow misses and he comes back and goes on this 8 or 9 yard run, it's not like, well, he has Jamar Chase. Well, he has Higgins. So is he really that valuable? Is Jamar Chase really the MVP and not Burrow? They don't do that to him. They don't say, oh, well, Josh Allen has this great offensive line. So is he really the MVP? They didn't do that to Patrick Mahomes back in the day when he had Tyreek Hill and Kelsey and all these other things going for him. It's only with Lamar that they spun a narrative that said, no, he's the best, but he's not as valuable. He's the best, but not as valuable. So I love this. Dev Panchwa, who's been on the show before, quote retweeted an old take that was posted by NFL on CBS. Logan Ryan. Are you ready for this? Listen to what he says. Now, he wasn't an MVP voter, but a lot of MVP voters were saying stuff like him. I cannot believe he said this, and here we are just a few months later, and it's completely being disproven.
The most valuable player, and it's value, not the best player week to week. Lamar had a better week than this, so it's the value to the team. If you take Lamar Jackson off the Ravens, they might win 8 games just because of Derrick Henry, right?
Can I rewind that? What did you say? You take Lamar off the team, and how many games did they win because they have Derrick Henry? Let's rewind that.
To the team. If you take Lamar Jackson off the Ravens, they might win 8 games just because of Derrick Henry. Right?
Oh. Lamar's been gone for 2 games, and they've won 0. They can't even score. They can't even average a touchdown per game. And this is not to bash Derrick. It's to put everything in light. I cannot believe that this was an actual narrative that MVP voters believed. We were screaming left and right that it was Lamar Jackson helping Derrick Henry more than the other way around. 8 games the Ravens could win without Lamar? Woof.
They have a good game. But I'm just saying, like, Derrick Henry is the biggest reason why Lamar doesn't seem as valuable as Josh Allen. They're both great. They're 2 of the greatest players on the planet. I played them both. They're monsters. But what Josh Allen's value to the Bills, if you take him off of the Bills, they're much worse than what the Ravens are without Lamar Jackson. His value to the Bills, he looks like he's in Monstar mode out there when he plays. I mean, it's unbelievable what he's doing. And Lamar Jackson's a freak, and he might be tougher to play against, in my opinion. But what Josh Allen's level this year to the Bills, I didn't have the Bills making the playoffs. I had the Jets. Right? I had the Jets winning that division.
Did you?
We were all wrong.
I didn't.
I thought the Dolphins.
Right.
So what he's doing to the Bills and elevating this level, we all knew what the Ravens were going to be because of the addition of them. And that is not trying to knock Lamar. It's hard. I don't want to make a point and knock a guy. Yeah. But he's the great. Value, I think that if I had to choose, Josh Allen has more value.
Still, it's so crazy because, you know what? It's funny because when these takes are put out there, sometimes to us, they seem so extreme that it's like, oh man, this is just them. This is them just with clickbait. But it wasn't just clickbait. They believed it. They believed it, which is why they voted not to give it to Lamar Jackson, even though he had a historic year. A historic year. Remember this from Dan Orlovsky? It wasn't just clickbait. It's what they believed. They actually believed that Derrick Henry was the MVP. Remember this from Dan Orlovsky?
First team All-Pro.
And you voted for Josh MVP?
Yeah.
Okay, so then explain it to me. How did you differentiate those things?
The value that the player brought to their football team. The Bills were the number 2 seed. Josh had a 40 touchdown, 8 turnover, 14 sack season. The Bills didn't have an elite defense. The Bills had a very good run game, not a great run game. They didn't have elite perimeter players in any regard. The way that Josh played this season and the different style that he played brought tremendous value to their football team. Lamar's season was absolutely sensational. He was probably the best player in football this year, or Jamar Chase, or Saquon Barkley. But value and how much you impact your team, who you do it with and who you do it against, that's where I thought Josh Allen had the upper hand.
Interesting. I disagree on this side of the table.
Did he say most valuable player for his team? Is this MVP of the league or of the Bills? Gosh. So, I mean, I think I'm glad that we have Dan here to defend him and the people who did this, but it does feel like you're trying to split the baby. Like, you don't got the heart to say what you actually want to say. I think both of them had MVP caliber seasons, but it feels like you are trying to find some little semantics trapdoors. So you can give this to him and that to them because you don't actually want to say what you really want to say.
Which is what?
Lamar Jackson had the best season this year. And maybe you could argue
that's not the award, Dom.
See, this is the semantics foolishness that we do. This is what you do. You say value. And the cool thing about value, it gives us on these shows a way to argue because you can twist it and turn it any way you want. Normally, MVP means who's the best damn dude in the league. Yeah. And to me, obviously, Josh Allen had an MVP caliber season. But the best damn dude in the league this year was the guy who was first team All-Pro.
I mean, he's absolutely right. He was absolutely right at the time. And it's even more exposed today. Both those clips I just played, obviously from last year. But they had made it up in their head that they couldn't give it to Lamar despite a historic year. And they're admitting that Lamar was the best. They were admitting it. Now here we are, less than a year later, because Dan Orlovsky was explaining this at the end of last season. He's explaining his MVP vote. And we kept trying to tell him, look at this. This is Derrick Henry's career stats. Look at the average yards per carry that I have circled in red. His first year with Lamar Jackson, he has a career high at 30 years old. And this was the narrative they were telling themselves. 5.9 yards per carry, a career high. And this man ran for well over 2,000 yards in 2020, and he beat that average. And here we are without Lamar. Well, first of all, Derrick Henry, you will recall, in week 1 with Lamar Jackson, went off in week 1. But he had those fumbles. That's not a Lamar Jackson thing. He had those fumbles. So now he's dropped back down to 5 yards per carry. He's on his way to having a career year in fumbles. The most he's ever had was 2019 with 5. He already has 3. I hope he doesn't catch the 5. But he's certainly trending that way. And I love that Derrick Henry bounced back last week, and I love that he's been accountable throughout the season. But the Ravens are dead in the water without Lamar Jackson. And they've been to the playoffs with Lamar Jackson every time he finishes his season healthy. So those old takes absolutely deserve to be exposed. Now that we're seeing what this team looks like without Lamar Jackson. Now, meanwhile, we do know this, that Lamar, at the end of this year, has his contract, his cap hit will spike to nearly $75 million in 2026. We already know this. It's 75 again in 2027. So the Ravens and Eric DeCosta, 1,000%, are going to need to talk to him and negotiate an extension. A restructure won't get it done. I mean, they could move money off of this year just by restructuring, but then where does it go? It's just going to go to 2027, and then his cap hit would even be higher than $75 million. It has to be an extension. They're going to have to negotiate again. Jeff Zrebiec and Cole Jackson talked about how there's some contracts that Eric DeCosta might be able to visit during this bye week. Maybe say like a Tyler Linderbaum, Isaiah Likely, maybe a Travis Jones. They can maybe visit it during the bye week. They're not, that's too big to do with Lamar Jackson. That being said, Jeff is saying you can't let him even leave the building after the season is over, Eric DeCosta.
I'm wrong, but I don't see a chance in hell that he does a contract extension before the offseason.
No, that would be pretty shocking if that gets done at this
point.
So
we won't even, there's not even value in discussing it.
I will say they shouldn't let him leave the building after the season. Eric DeCosta shouldn't make him sit with him, because if that cap number is hovering over their entire offseason, it's going to be awfully tough to build a roster around him. I mean, that has to be priority number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. It's going to be tough to do anything meaningful if he's on the cap for over $70 million.
Yeah.
Now, just to be clear, if Lamar doesn't renegotiate, he's not getting new money. Not a ton anyway. Okay. So this cap hit that we're looking at that's circled right now at $75 million, he's already been paid most of that money. So the cap hit is a combination of like your base salary and what you plus what you've already been paid when you signed. So the new money that Lamar Jackson would get next year is $51 million. But he could get even a bigger check if he negotiates an extension. Okay, he's not getting $75 million. $75 million is what's on the cap. That's them spreading out the signing bonus that he had when he first signed years ago. He'll get his $51 million. But he could get another massive check if he extends, because he'd get another massive signing bonus. And then on top of that, he would still have base salaries that would be huge for him. Eric DeCosta, it's going to be imperative to him. And by the way, Lamar Jackson, it's going to be imperative to him too, because he is under contract. If he waits until training camp? I mean, he can wait up until March, but that $75 million cap hit, in addition to, I don't know if you guys have looked at the list, there are a ton of pending free agents this year. A ton. Last offseason was actually a little bit boring because remember, 11 of the 12 or 10 of the 11 starters on offense were returning. Almost everybody was still under contract. Next year, it's not going to be the same thing. And so if Eric DeCosta can't make moves in March, that hurts both the Ravens and it hurts Lamar because Lamar's under contract. They need to be able to sign Tyler Linderbaum. They need to be able to sign defensive players. I mean, there's a long list of free agents. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely. I'm trying to remember where Ronnie Stanley's at. A ton of defensive players. And so either way, Lamar is going to be here next year because he's under contract for 2 more years. So this is going to have to happen before free agency opens in March. It's going to be imperative for both sides. Now, that being said, Lamar could still use this as leverage if there's something in the back of Lamar's mind that he wants, whether it's personnel changes or coaching changes. He can use this as leverage. It seemed like he kind of did with wide receivers, right? The Ravens went out and got Odell Beckham Jr., even though that didn't pan out well. Then they went out and got DeAndre Hopkins. Those are the 2 players that Lamar Jackson specifically asked about getting. So if you guys are wanting Lamar Jackson to use this as leverage to make some changes within the organization, he could still do that. But there's a deadline to everything. And it would be hurting both him and the team if this lasted into free agency. It would have to get done. Otherwise, their hands are going to be completely tied to put a team around him. Okay. Let's see here. Are there any more super chats? Do some super chats, then we'll do some quick hits. Let's see. Where did we leave off here? Big Jordan, we did. Okay, here we are. Captain Hard said, I can see if Lamar didn't win MVP before, with some laughing emojis. Sea King is in the house. He says, it is trying to knock Lamar. Exactly what they were doing. Park Heights Prophet is in the house, celebrating 7 months of channel membership. Is that as far back as it goes? Is that how long ago we started it? PHP says, what up, Voltrons? Everything is in front of us, but do we want it bad enough? I can't answer that, but the Ravens can. Time to win out. See you in Santa Clara, flock. Drinks on me. Hashtag no hashtags. PHP back in the house, pumping us up with more positivity. Appreciate you, PHP. Good to see you. Kobe Pruitt with the $10 super chat says the media knows Lamar is the best player in the league, but he's not marketable in the same way Patrick and Josh are. 8 speaks in his native accent and doesn't conform, which is harder to sell to some fans. Man, Lamar Jackson is so likable, though. People listen to him at press conferences. You can't help but see what a great personality and lovable character that he is, for sure. Okay, let's get to some quick hits. See if here we go. Did you guys see this from what Chuck Pagano revealed yesterday? He said Nate Wiggins came to them on the defensive side, the coaches, and said that he asked to travel with Devontae Adams last week. Listen to this.
I think from just a growth standpoint and maturity standpoint, like he came to us and said, like, I got 17, right, this week? Yeah, you want him? Yes, sir. Yeah, and so Double D and myself and Zach, the rest of what we saw was like this unbelievable sense of urgency, focus, detail, films, like everything, you know, because he wanted that challenge, accepted that challenge, and, you know, because he's a prideful guy, very prideful guy. He cares what he puts on tape, he cares about this organization and winning. Loved what he did. He had some good downs, and he had some not so good downs. That's a really good wide receiver. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion, but he held his own. He did a nice job, and so everybody's looking to have a guy like Nate, a true number 1 corner, that when you face guys like Adams or whoever, we're going to face some great ones coming up, that the guy's willing, number 1, and number 2, he's got the capability and the athleticism and skill set to go do it.
Not just willing, but he's asking for it. Not just willing, but he's asking for it. Normally in Ravens defenses, defensive backs don't travel with wide receivers. Davante Adams, he's one of the best. We know this. There's also Puka Nacua on their team. I think he leads the Rams, but Puka plays on the inside. Nate's an outside guy. Puka can be out there from time to time, but Puka's in the slot quite a bit. He's asking, let me take the veteran. Let me take him. I love that he went to them and asked them for that. Now, as Coach said, he wasn't perfect, but I like the confidence. I like the attitude. We've been talking about how there might be low confidence inside the Ravens locker room. Doesn't appear that that's Nate. Nate wants it. Nate's asking for it to come to him. Now, how did he grade out? I'm looking over at PFF right now. Here he is against LA. His coverage grade, just all right. I'm sure it was hurt by that penalty that he drew when he was on Davante. But his coverage grade was a 47.7. Wasn't great. His overall defensive grade was a 51. But I like where his head's at. And again, I thought the secondary overall played well on Sunday. All right, a couple more quick hits. Zach Orr was asked, he said, whatever reporter was talking to him, they said, I'm sure you've heard a lot of the fans, their criticism of you and even kind of your job security. And they asked him, what does it mean to have John Harbaugh supporting you? Because we all know John Harbaugh is sticking by his side. It's not even worth discussing anymore. John Harbaugh is not letting this go. He wants Zach Orr to succeed. And here's what that means to Zach Orr.
A lot, man. It means a lot. I got a lot of respect for Coach Harbaugh, man. I could spend all day talking about him, but I got a lot of respect for him. I didn't know him as a man before I got here. I respected him as a coach and then as a player. Great coach, mentor, and then gotten closer to him as I became a coach, and just everything he stands for. Nobody works hard in the building. Nobody's beat him in the building. I've tried. I just given up, man. So nobody works as hard as he does to make sure that this organization, not just the football team, but to make this organization is running the right way and we're doing the right thing. And it means a lot to me that he supported me because he's part of he's the reason why I'm here. And I want to do right by him. He doesn't have to. I understand. I'm grown. I got to be better. We got to be better as a defense. And he's just being a mentor, a father figure for me for taking a lot of the heat off of me, and I appreciate that, man. I can't thank him enough, and it's something I'm gonna remember, forever. So it means a lot, and how I can show my appreciation to him is continue to work hard and put a winning defense.
Yes, let's have you show appreciation by putting a winning defense on the field. You did start that pathway last week against the Rams, but man, oh man, everybody needs a John Harbaugh in their lives. Somebody who's going to be with them through thick and thin, because John Harbaugh sure has been there for Zach Orr. Despite, I know I've been one, at least asking to change play calling duties. I'm not even asking to let him go. Just sort of bench him when it comes to play calling duties. I don't usually ask for players to be cut, but I do ask them to be benched. I think that Zach Orr might need to be benched. That's clearly not happening when it comes to play calling duties, but man, do we all need a John Harbaugh as our mentor in life. Let's get to some more quick hits here through some slides. So remember last week, almost immediately when these 1:00 games were starting, Odafe Oweh got his first sack as a Charger in like the first quarter. We're like, what the what? Well, Michael Peterson, who covers the Chargers, made a note how it didn't go well after that. He says new Chargers edge Odafe Oweh was the worst graded defensive player versus the Dolphins in his first game with LA. He led the team with 4 pressures, but his overall grade, 36.6, was the worst. His run defense, which is why he was taken off the field a lot in Baltimore, was 31.1, the second worst on the team. His tackling was at 27.2, which was the worst. And his pass rush, 69.4, was the third best. I'm sure bolstered by that sack. So we will continue to monitor who got the best out of this trade. Week 1, I think the Ravens, as I showed in the very first topic coming off the top, Ravens are very happy with this trade in terms of Alohi Gilman and what he brought in order to allow them to be more flexible, especially with Kyle Hamilton. So they were very happy with that. Not sure if they're super happy now because Tavius Robinson is injured. So they're going to have to go try to find somebody. So we'll see. We'll see. Odafio got a sack, but all the other grades not looking so hot. Oops, that was in a different order. I think that is the last one. So let's go over here and let's finish up with some super chats, and then we will get out of here. Let's see where we left off. Kobe Pruitt was the last. Rafiki Tucker in the house celebrating 6 months of channel membership. He said, we will see what this team's fate for the season will be after the bye. If we cannot beat the Bears, it's all the way over. Those first 2 games out of the pie, I mean, they're everything. They're absolutely everything. Totally agree with you there. Kobe Pruitt is back. Kobe says, the Ravens are in a tough situation. We need other teams to be sellers, but the deadline is once again too early in the season. We need to make moves, but others may not be motivated, which raises prices. That's right. A few people there's going to be several people that are in the Ravens boat. There's going to be several teams that are like, are we giving up now or not? There's still a lot of season left. Should we make a move now or not? And they don't really know if they're out of it. So it would be nice to move that trade deadline back a couple more weeks. I don't really know the reasoning behind all that and what they've done there. So of why the NFL has it. They did move it back. It used to be even earlier, if I recall. So it's a little bit better, but even moving it back a couple more weeks, I think teams would have a better idea of who they are. All right. Well, that brings us to the end of today's show. It also brings me to the end of my week with you. Bobby, as we know, off in Banff, Canada. And I'm on my way out to Utah tomorrow. I'll be over in Zhang's neck of the woods. It is, as I've mentioned before, my parents' 60th wedding anniversary. And plus this month, my mom's celebrating her 80th birthday. And my dad is celebrating his 89th birthday. So I'm excited. I'm going to take the whole family. We're going to be gone just for 4 days. We got to be back for school and all that kind of stuff. But I think you guys know I'm one of 7 children. And it's hard to get all of us together. And my parents have 31 grandchildren and a couple of great-grandchildren. And you just never know with your parents aging. Dad's 89. You never know how often we're all going to be together. And so I told my husband, I was like, you got to get work off. We got to get the kids out of school. And we're going to make this happen. It's just a 4-day trip. We're going to go and celebrate them. And I cannot wait to see all my siblings. See all my nieces and nephews, see my parents. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. So because both Bobby and I are out, we are not going to suspend the show as we have in the past when we both have to leave. But instead, we've got some guest hosts line up for you guys over the next 2 days. And we really hope you'll come out and support them. So on Thursday, you guys may have watched them on their own channel, but the guys from 410 Sports Talk is coming here inside the vault tomorrow, and they will have total and complete creative control. I cannot tell you what they're going to cover. I cannot tell you what they want to talk about. They can do almost anything they want. You guys will report and let me know if they use my made up curse words, but or my substitute words, I should say, for curse words. But let's see, Jimbo, unfortunately, I meant to mention this off the top. Eric Weddle in that Utah Ute sweatshirt. Oh, that doesn't make me happy, obviously, being from BYU. And do you know what Friday is? It's what we call the Holy War in Utah. It's BYU versus Utah. And yeah, I don't like James is going to be in here. He's a Utah Ute. He better not be talking trash inside the vault on my BYU Cougars, okay? And even if he does, I really hope BYU has the last laugh. So I will be back on Monday to report on that. Then on Friday, your guest hosts will be Samuel Njoku and Kadri Ishmael, former Ravens Super Bowl wide receiver and Super Bowl winner. So that is who you got. And I'm just so appreciative to all of our guest hosts. I actually was surprised by how many people that wanted to do it. There were like Femi Imandejo. He texted me and Bobby right away, right when we announced that we were going to be looking for guest hosts, and he's like, "Oh, I want to do it." And then he realized that he already had a big, I don't know, I think business engagement today that he had to do and couldn't get out of it. So if this is successful, if you guys like it, we'll probably try it again in July when we always take that 1 week off. The first week of July, maybe we'll go ahead and get guest hosts at that time too. So treat them well if you can for us. Let them know that you appreciate them. And then on the other side, let us know how everything goes down. But I'm sure they're going to be great. I'm excited to check in myself from Utah to see how everything goes. So while I won't see you back here tomorrow, the 410 Sports Talk guys will. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Thank you for being with me throughout these last 3 days of Solo Sarah. I hope that you guys have had fun. And I just noticed another super chat came in. Let's get that right here. Kevin Carver, thank you. $20 super chat. It's orange over here. I haven't had to do any meatloaf during my 3 days of being solo. Is it just Bobby? You guys only do the meatloaf when Bobby's here? I mean, I can try to do it. I guess my mic always gives out. So, but Kevin Carver, thank you so much. A little parting words. He says, "Great job, Sarah. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate all you guys and all 4,223 concurrents listening to us right now. Hope you guys have a fabulous 2 more days inside the vault and then a fabulous weekend. And then both Bobby and I will see you here inside the vault on Monday. Talk to you then. Have a great one."